Good morning, everybody, and a huge welcome from Google Digital Garage. And welcome to this session that we're running for you today on Get Started with Analytics, which we are going to be running in partnership with Media Trust. Absolute pleasure to be working with Media Trust today. And I will have a big, proper introduction from Media Trust before we do actually get into the content. I thought I'd introduce myself first. So welcome along, as I say this morning, and I hope you've got your pen and paper ready or your note-taking device. We've got a great session coming up for you in the next hour. Now, my name is Glenn, and I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. I'm an experienced digital skills trainer and have quite a background in consultancy and helping businesses to identify opportunities to grow. I've also worked in the not-for-profit and charity sector, so hoping to add some value to the session today, as I understand that we have a lot of charities in attendance today. So welcome along, everybody, and we hope that we can help you with your digital comms strategy. Now, we also have in chat on YouTube, and I can see already that lots and lots of people are getting involved. We have the wonderful Emma. Now, Emma is also a very, very experienced Google Digital Garage trainer herself. Please take full advantage of her today in terms of her knowledge, because she knows a lot about this topic and will be able to help you answer. She'll answer lots of questions, so please comment and throw in your questions throughout. We do have a pause for questions and ask questions towards the end of the session, but put your questions in throughout the session today. It'll be great to hear from you, great to hear about your experiences, and Emma will answer most of those. And if we do have an opportunity at the end, I'll be able to answer a couple of questions live for you as well. Okay, perfect. Now, if you can't see the chat in YouTube, then please do just sign into your YouTube account if you have one. That will bring up the YouTube panel where you can then enter and interact with us. We do love the interaction. As I say, it's great to know where everyone is on their online and digital journey. And if you don't have a YouTube account, then please do sign up. You will be able to then access your history and look at sessions where you've left off if you do leave anything halfway through, that sort of thing. So it's got a great number of benefits. It's only a few clicks to actually do that too. Okay, perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is read out the introduction from Media Trust. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so we are excited to be delivering this webinar in partnership with Media Trust today, and we welcome all the guests that they have invited to join this Google Digital Garage training. I will now read out a short introduction on behalf of Media Trust. So the Media Trust believes that it's by giving everyone a voice that we'll get to a more equal society. That's why they're proud to be working with thousands of charities to strengthen their storytelling, advocacy and campaigning, press engagement and social media. To do this through media, comms and digital skills training delivered in partnership with their media and creative industry partners, and by matching media industry volunteers with charities looking for comms support. They would like to say a huge thanks to Google Digital Garage for delivering this masterclass in partnership with Media Trust as part of our digital comms training program supported by google.org. This training will be on the Resource Hub for the next 6 months. So please feel free to come back and rewatch or share with friends. Don't miss out on future training opportunities. Sign up for Media Trust's newsletter at mediatrust.org/newsletter. Now, I'm sure Emma will also share that link for you in the chat as well, so that you can perhaps bookmark that and look at that a bit later on. So that's mediatrust.org/newsletter. So again, please do take advantage of all of the excellent facilities that there are available for you to continue on your online journey and to really, really help your online communications and strategies grow. Now, you can access also the Google Digital Garage site, which is available at g.co/digital garage. There's a whole host of no-cost training on there, including many more of these webinars and masterclasses, and also some no-cost training courses. The one that stands out, the one that might be really, really useful, is the fundamentals of digital marketing. As I say, that's absolutely no cost. It's a 40-hour video learning course, and at the end of it, you can then, once you've passed the assessment, get a downloadable certificate that's endorsed by the Open University. So something to really think about, and please do get involved. Again, what have you got to lose there? Okay, let's have a look now at what we're going to be running through today. But before I do, there's one extra service that I'd like to mention as well. There is a mentoring service that's available for you too, which is available on the link again, which Emma is going to put into the chat for you. That's enterprisenation.com/Google mentoring/sign up. And that will be again popped into the chat for you to take advantage of. So again, I know that we're working with lots and lots of charities today. You can sign up, you can get a one-to-one session with a Google Mentor to help you through your specific challenges on any kind of digital issue. There might be something that you see in this session today that you might think, I'd like to talk a lot more about that, and I'd like to learn a lot more about that too. So why not sign up for one of our mentoring sessions? It would be great to see you there. Okay, let's now just move into and have a look at what we are going to be covering for you this morning. We've got a lot to get through, as I say, so pen and paper ready, digital information recording device ready too. Let's see. Now we're going to be looking at, in the first session, about asking the right questions. You know, data analysis, everything that we're going to be looking at is going to help you to improve your digital communications by evaluating the data that's presented in front of you. So we want to know the right questions to ask, and we'll have a great framework for that as well. In the second section, we're looking at which tools that we're going to be using to do this. It's not just about Google Analytics and Google Analytics 4. It's going to be about some complementary tools that you can use too, that will help give you a broader approach to your data, to your online comms, and to your ongoing strategies to bring through the right audience for you. Then we're going to be looking at, in the final section, using the data from Google Analytics with some snapshots of the GA4 dashboard, and just some ways to start to think about the data that is going to be presented to you as well. So an exciting session coming up, and let's get right into it now. Okay, get my trusty clicker. Here we go. Firstly, we want to be thinking about what is my objective. So again, this is very systematic approach. It's a great approach. Take notes, take some screenshots, take some photos of the screen if you need to on some of the slides that come up. And of course, revisit this over the next 6 months via the Media Trust Resource Hub. Now, we're going to be looking at how to ask the right questions about you, about what it is that you're trying to achieve. So we'll start with a quick activity and run through a 4-step framework. Now, this is our overarching 4-step framework today, getting the answers that you want from data. You know, getting the right answers involves asking the right questions. You know, we all are probably very, very time stretched, so we want to make sure we're being as efficient as we can. It's a framework about thinking about the types of goals and objectives that you should be setting to measure the success of your endeavors online. So what is my objective? What question do I need to address? Where do I get that information from? And what do I actually do with that information? So we'll work through that, and let's start with number 1. So what is my objective? Again, please do pop some of your objectives in the chat. Let us see, let everyone see, let's share what's going on for you, where you are, and perhaps some of the questions that you are already asking. It's really, really key to have some objectives to help you formulate what it is that you're working towards. So on the next slide, we are going to have a look at what our objectives potentially could be. You know, there are many, many things that you can track and measure using data from any of the tools that we're going to be looking at today. So what's important to track and what's not that important to track for you? You need to think about what you want to be actually achieving. So you might want to, as you can see on the screen there, maybe you want to tell more people about your business. You might want to sell more of your product or service. You might want to identify your most valuable donors, your most valuable members of your audience. You might want to find new ways to engage with previous donors or previous audience members to keep them coming back. Now, I can see a couple of those being popped into the chat now to get more sales, absolutely, to allow the right people to see and use our resources. Thank you. So we are certainly going to, I think, have a lot of answers coming in there that are going to be very, very similar indeed. And I can see Emma sharing a few of those with me too. Thank you, Emma. To build traffic from socials. Okay, perfect. And again, socials, things like socials, the way that people actually reach your website and how we can track that is an important part, and that will be covered in this session as well. And most, Jade Stiano, thank you. Most charities will be looking for more donors. Absolutely. Okay. So now that we understand and we've started to formulate what our objective might actually be, we need to ask the right questions, as we've said, to start to really funnel our approach and be as efficient as we possibly can be to get the results that we need later down the line. Now, we've built a framework for this. This, again, is a really good way to visualize that funnel. I expect a few of you may well be aware of the funnel and how that works in digital marketing. So we've broken it down into 4 areas. You can see on the screen, we have reach, engage, activate, and nurture. That becomes our REEN framework. It's a structure that is really useful to follow to help keep you directed. So again, please make a note of that. Each part of the REAN, the reach, engage, activate, and nurture funnel, is going to be asking different things. So who's my target audience? So now we're on reach. Who's my target audience and where are my visitors coming from? 2 really key questions there. My target audience and where are they actually coming from? What channels? How are they finding me in the first place? Now, really, really important too, once you've started to establish that level of data, the engage part is clearly going to be key. When they find me, what are they finding? Exactly what it is that they need? Are the things that I'm offering matching the queries and the services that are actually being offered? Are they finding what they need from me, thus staying with me and building up a level of engagement? Now, another part, the next part of the funnel there is going to be activate. Are they buying or booking? So activation is going to be them completing an action that is really, really important to you as the website owner. It could be signing up to a newsletter. It could be submitting information through a contact form. It could be, again, sales. You might well have heard of this via the universal edition of Google Analytics as conversions or goals. So this is activation. This is people doing the things that you want them to do. And then lastly, we have a nurture, and that is keeping people happy and keeping them coming back over time. As you can see on the screen there, are they coming back? And it's important, how can I get my customers to come back again and again and again? And one of the answers there could well be things like relevance. You want to ask yourself all of these questions. You're going to be nurturing a relationship to keep your donors and your audience members coming back. It could be responding to any reviews. It could be remarketing ads. It again depends on the breadth and the reach of your overall digital marketing strategy. So a really great page there, really something very, very useful indeed to take notes from, to make sure that you're capturing and understanding your strategy at every element, every stage of the funnel. Okay, so let's have a look now and break that down. So we've got our REAN. Remember that R is for reach. So here's some reach questions that we can start to negotiate. What are my target customers searching for? And how are people finding me online? Who's searching for me? How can I expand my audience? If you have any other reach questions, then please do, again, pop those into chat. Let's all learn from each other. It's a great way for us to understand, engage where people are at any point, as we've said, in terms of their online journey and perhaps their marketing journey. So there's some reach questions for you. What are my target customers searching for? How are people finding me online? Let's have a look at some engage questions. So moving down that funnel, how are we being found in the first place? Now, how are we engaging people? Again, a useful thing to think about in terms of the data that's going to be available that we'll be looking at later is, what are people engaging with once they find me online? And which of my online communications are people engaging with the most? Useful. What is it that's actually appealing to people once they've found me in the first place? You're going to have popular content, and you might have not quite so popular content. Things to think about, things to start to look at from the other side of the coin, I think, in terms of what's working, what can I do more of, and what potentially could I do less of, because we know that some things are working better than others. So there's some engagement questions. What are people engaging with, and which of my online communications are being engaged with the most? Some fantastic questions. So moving further, let's move further down that funnel now and look at the activate questions. Which channels are driving bookings? So is that people coming in from social media? Are my social media campaigns working really, really well? Are people coming in just through organic search? Are people coming in through paid ads? How, once people actually do find me and they're starting to engage with my content, wherever they're coming from, which one of those channels is actually activating the most sales? I can see via the chat that sales is obviously very, very important to a lot of you for obvious reasons. And then what are my visitors buying on my site? Again, something so useful, hopefully for reasonably obvious reasonably obvious reasons, in terms of what are my visitors buying? What is it that I'm offering them that they absolutely like the best? You know, what's really, really working for them? So absolutely think about the activate questions. Think about the things that once they've found you, once they've started to engage, once they're actually starting to do the things that you want them to do on your website, what is proving to be perhaps the most popular offerings that you have. And then we got the nurture questions. So we're right at the bottom of that framework now, REAN, down to the nurture questions. Are my customers talking about my business online? Something that we want people to do. I had such a good time. They offer, their offering is fantastic. I need to share this with other people because I want them to share in the goodness that I've experienced. And I think that this is a really worthy place for people to go to achieve the things that they want to achieve. Do my customers visit or buy from me again? All questions, all areas that we will start to be able to answer with that crucial data. Are you getting those return visits? Is interest being maintained for the people coming through to you? Really, really crucial parts to actually understand. Now, we've just come to the end of the first section. So we're starting to really formulate now how we're feeling about things. We're starting to understand that funnel. We're starting to want to drive our audience through every stage of that funnel and start to answer questions for ourselves along every stage of that funnel. That's going to be really, really important. It helps to give you a very sort of holistic view of you, how you're doing, what you need to do more of, what you need to do less of. As with any type of digital marketing strategy overall, I think that it is perhaps key again to position in your mind that you want to be the solution to your audience's challenges. You want to be able to give them lots of information, enough information for them to comfortably and probably fairly quickly, in a lot of cases, make the next step. Those things can be absolutely crucial in the experience journey. Think about yourself too. Try and be as objective as you can be when you're looking at this type of information and making this type of analysis, because your experience online is going to be extremely similar to so many other people's experience online too. Track your own experience, the things that maybe push you away from a website if you visit it, the things that appeal to you. Is it the imagery? Is it the text? Is it the way things are written? Is it catchy headlines? All of those things are going to be the things that appeal to your audience set. They appeal to you. They're going to appeal to a lot of people too. It's good just to turn things around a little bit. Okay, now I can't see that any questions have come in that Emma hasn't already dealt with or is dealing with amazingly well, obviously in the chat as well. But please keep your comments coming. Please do let us know what you're thinking, share your questions as we go, and we'll do our best to answer all of those for you. So now that we've looked at a structure and the right questions to ask, what we're going to do constructively with our data, let's now just have a run through some of the places that we can find which we can get that information from. And of course, Google Analytics is going to be one of those, but there's more. There's other areas, and I've seen a few mentions to other types of platforms. So where are we going to get our information from? So the tools that we can use, we can see that we are able to drive people through to our website and get information from social media platforms. Now, social media is an extremely popular way and an extremely popular route for people to be pushed through to websites. It's in some cases that you may well just be working via social media, but in a lot of cases, then you are able to push through a great deal of data from social media through to your website. And again, it's an accompanying channel for people to understand and find out more about you. Now, some other tools that are available as well, if you're looking at being just on organic search, for example, being found for the organic route when you've launched your website and you're searchable and findable through search engines like Google, is Google Search Console. Now, Google Search Console is also integrated into Google Analytics, but it also is a standalone tool that you can choose to use as well. And Google Search Console is really useful. It helps you understand your ranking, some of the terms that are being used in order to help find you from people's input into search engines. And also one really great feature of Google Search Console is that if there are any problems with your website, if there are any issues in terms of how you're being indexed, you will, once you've signed up, get emails saying we're having problems with. So it can be a quick alert through to fixing any challenges that might stop you from getting through all of the customers you're working so hard to do and to achieve from. Now, Google Business Profile is another great tool to use. It gives you that local presence. It's essentially loosely called local search. It's the results that you get when you type in a search, and you get up on the right-hand side, usually a local business or a local charity, whatever it is that you're actually looking for at the time, giving a nice prominence of position as well. You come up on page one, which is absolutely fantastic. And that also, in terms of local search, the people that are the footfall, the people that are finding you that way, you can start to understand a lot of data about them by using the Google Business Profile. And then, as we're going to be covering later on, we're going to be looking at Google Analytics 4. I can see Emma's just passing over some of the tools that are already being used. Google Ads, thank you very much indeed. Sector 3 Stockport and Townsend's, primarily Google Analytics, absolutely. Richmond CVs, Twitter, Facebook Analytics. Okay, cool. So everything that we can see on screen is being highlighted and being used in some ways. So that's really great to know. Use as many of these as you possibly can in order to really gather that vital intelligence. So let's have a look at some of the social media page insights, what people are engaging with on your social media, how they're finding your business. So platforms like, as some of the ones that have been mentioned there, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, offer page insights. You can see how people are engaging with your social media and finding you. So these are super handy tools, just again to help you get that understanding. The illustration you can see on the screen, we're looking at age and gender. There's prominence of men, just a little bit, quite an even split between men and women accessing this particular website that you can see. You can see that they're being followed by 8,307 Facebook followers. What's really quite useful there is you can start to understand your key age levels of your audience there. 25 to 34 would appear to be the key audience. So then you can start to segment and really tailor your communications, build those personas that you will have heard about, I think, in terms of understanding and defining your ideal audience. And then second, you can see that 35 to 44 is reasonably popular, again, in terms of audience. Easy information to gather once you're signed up to some of these tools. Now, the benefit of social media insights, you can understand, as it says there, what content performs best. That helps you to decide on your content strategy and where perhaps to invest your marketing budget overall. You can gain those demographic insights, as we saw with the age ranges. Understanding who your audience is, you can start to understand what they're interested in, and you can start to target them a little bit better. So targeting is a really, really important thing. Get the people that are interested in you rather than the casual clickers as you work through your strategy. And then we want to measure the impact of our ad campaigns. So we can see how many people we've actually reached, how well has your budget performed. We all want that return on investment, clearly. So we can leverage these insights to improve our performance and understand our customer base, and ultimately help to improve our overall online brand. So when we start to have a look at social insights, then we can switch to a professional or a business account. That's going to be available on most social media platforms. I mean, we've actually mentioned, a kind of drop in the ocean in terms of the amount of social media platforms that are available. The last time I looked this up, there were over 150 different platforms, but of course we tend to focus on the most popular ones, the ones with the biggest overall user base, that sort of thing. But there are so many social media platforms available. That's why it's important to be able to focus on the ones where your audience actually are, the ones that your donors use, rather than thinking that you need to be able to stretch yourself over them all, because the time and the effort that would go into that, and for platforms that may not perform for you in any way, you can start to see the time element of that and making sure that all of your efforts are as efficient as they possibly can be. So we switch to a professional business account. We create our posts and we share content. Your images, your videos. Videos are extremely popular. People love to learn via videos, or they can, of course, be text-based as well. Now, posts can be unpaid, which is the organic posting, or again, paid. Paid posts are going to help you to reach more customers and get more engagement, depending on what strategy it is that you're actually looking at. And so look at a blended approach possibly there. There may well be more popular times when more people are searching or looking for you or your particular type of service. So perhaps using a paid element applying a paid element to your service at particular times of the year, when you know that more and more people are going to be looking for you, can help you get that return on investment too. Now, you can review your recent engagement and get some post insights, so you can understand what posts have been popular and adjust your strategy accordingly. What's working for me, what isn't working for me. You could use your Ad Center for insights on paid posts. So again, working towards that return on investment and making sure everything that you're doing is starting to work towards the goals that you're looking to actually achieve. And then perhaps consider using some of the third-party platforms as well. There are tools such as Buffer, Hootsuite, Sprout Social that can help to give you additional insights across multiple social accounts. These might well not be all of these tools might or might not be useful to you, but maybe just have a look. I'm sure that Emma might be able to post a couple of links to those. That's Buffer, Hootsuite, or Sprout Social. Have a look at those and see if they're going to work for you, and if you feel that they're going to be a good use of your time. Now, Google Search Console, as I mentioned previously, find out invaluable information. There's a good reason why invaluable information is bolded there about your website and its visitors from Google's organic search results. So organic search is where you are really optimizing your own site over time, where your search engine optimization is going to be the term that's used there. You're improving the visibility, the quality of your website, the user experience of your website to help you move up those rankings. A lot of people clearly would like to be on page 1 of the Google search to ensure, how many pages, I guess, this is a good question. When you're looking and you're searching for something, how many pages back do you actually go? Are you using page 1 and 2? Are you going back page 10 to page 20. How many pages are you looking at when you're searching? And the same question will of course apply when perhaps people are searching for you. So with search engine optimization, it's good to think about the improvements that you can make. There's a lot of information available online to help you with search engine optimization and some of the key factors involved in that too. Now, the Google Search Console can help you understand parts of your performance. It's got a great dashboard. You can have a look at how you have been measuring over time. Very, very customizable features. You can get reports, which you can then set to particular periods of time. Now, that again clearly is going to start to help you understand how you're faring over certain periods. Are you working on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, a yearly basis? You can do all of those types of comparisons as well. Now, it's going to help you with your ranking. It'll give you an average ranking that you're achieving over time. As I mentioned, it's going to help you with some of the key phrases that are being input to help to find you, to help you perhaps improve your keyword list. And it does integrate with Google Analytics so that you can see your Search Console data in Google Analytics too. But some people do actually use this as a standalone tool. Now, the benefits of getting some Search Console insights. There's a great one at the beginning. Check that Google can find your website. Again, if you have indexing issues, because the Google bots will regularly crawl sites to find new pages. You might have changed pages, made updates. You want to make sure that you're being found and all those updates and changes are being recognized. Google Console, Search Console can tell you how effectively your site is being found. You can troubleshoot problems and receive alerts for new issues. As I mentioned, that's a really nice touch. Something isn't working well. This is what you need to perhaps address, or if you are working with a developer, to help them to get to the crux of the issue very, very quickly. You can monitor how often your site appears in Google search and on what page. And you can find out, as I mentioned, which those queries are showing your site. So getting started with Google Search Console, you sign up at g.co/search console. You verify your website. Verification is the process of proving that you own the property, the site that you claim to own. Of course, we can't just randomly take a website, so we do get verified first. There are methods listed, and you follow the instructions for those based on which ones are appropriate for you. Then you check that Google's found all your pages by using the coverage report. And this shows all of the URLs. So each of the individual pages that your site that Google had that knows about and found. So maybe there are some missing. There might be some issues with those pages that you can start to rectify. You can view your website's recent performance. Again, extremely important. How well are we actually doing? And as I mentioned before, we'll start to learn the basics of SEO, or search engine optimization. You don't necessarily need to understand HTML or coding, but you can think about how your site is organized and written. Again, think about your own user experience when you're visiting websites, which all works towards having a good time, finding the things that you need very, very quickly, and making sure that they're organized well. Those are good steps towards an optimum website. So the Google Business Profile Insights, you can manage your online presence across Google Search and Google Maps. Be interesting to see how many of you do have a Google Business Profile active already. It's a fantastic no-cost tool. It gives you extra visibility. There are lots of integrated functions, which again have been improved since lockdown, to help local businesses, local charities, local presence, I think would probably be the best way to put it, for all of those entities to thrive and to be found in more ways than perhaps they have been already via socials or even just organic search. You have the same access to information, people who have found your business directly, people who have found you by searching for a particular category, and perhaps if there are bigger brands around, if you're being found by a brand that perhaps might be similar to yours. Now, the benefits of Google Business Profile Insights: see the number of direction requests and website clicks, valuable data to see how many people actually want to find you in the first place, and perhaps how far people are traveling. What's your radius to bring people in? See the number of people who have clicked your business profile. Interesting. Again, you do come up in quite a prominent place on the search engine results page. Interesting to see how many people are actually clicking on that once you have come up. Understand how people find your business profile and what search queries they've used. Helps with your key word research. And then leverage your insights to show up on search and maps to really optimize your presence. So getting started with the Google business profile, we want to sign up. We want to sign into our Google account. You will need a Google account for this. You search on Google for your exact business name as the entity that you have entered, or your charity name. You select promote and then performance, and then you choose a date range to view the data. There's a lot of great information available. As I say, local presence. Since lockdown, in lockdown, we used our local presence a lot more effectively because we weren't able to go very far at all. And I think that did bring a lot of prominence back. Now, there will be a link that Emma can share with you, which is google.com/intl/en_UK/business. That essentially is going to be the Google business profile, or business.google.com. Now, in terms of that experience, that search engine optimization that we were talking about, there is a great site here as well called Test My Site. You create a seamless user experience with a fast mobile site. A lot of people will be finding you on mobile. So on that basis, you want to make sure that when people are searching for you on mobile, they're having that great experience that we were talking about before. A 1 second delay in mobile load times can impact conversion rates quite extensively by up to around 20%. So it's really important to have a site that loads quickly. Test My Site is a tool to measure how quickly or slowly, but quickly, hopefully, your mobile site loads, and helps you again work towards that seamless user experience. You see that you get a ranking. You can start to understand the types of connections that you'll be engaged on. And this is another great way to ensure, again, think about your own usage online. So I speaking for myself. So if I do search for something on my mobile and the page is taking a while to load, I'm likely just to hit the back button and research or find another search result that's probably going to load quicker. That's how competitive, that's how things have become. We do have limited attention spans as well, so it's really working within all of those variables. So think about using Test My Site. There are some great benefits. We can see how quickly our site loads. We can get the recommendations for improvements. We can optimize our site for a better user experience, again, SEO, search engine optimization, and we can get a full report on our website that we can start to work towards and make sure that everything is as your visitors are hoping it to be. So getting started, we'd go to g.co/test my site. We're going to type the URL of the website that we want to test. So that's just the web address. We're going to review the rating and any suggestions that come through. We can then personalize the site and implement any fixes we feel are appropriate based on the data that's come back. And then we can choose a date range to view data to, again, see how that's been working over time. Really, really useful features. Now, Google Analytics is something we're going to be covering more of, and we're talking about, and is the main focus of today. We're going to manage our online presence across Google Search and Google Maps. You sign up at absolutely no charge whatsoever. It is the most popular website analytics tool, and we're going to monitor every click on our site. Now, the benefits of using Google Analytics, we can evaluate all round our marketing performance. Fantastic to, again, make good use of our time and make best use of our content. We can understand the engagement that we're getting with all of the efforts that we get in, because these things take time, without a doubt. We can get to know our site users and their behaviors. When you're starting to build personas, you're wondering what people are doing, you're wondering what pages on your website are working. This is going to be giving you all of those answers. It's going to help you understand what areas of your website you might need to trim, what areas of your website you might need to play with, make more effective, optimize. And then we can link with other products such as Google Ads or Search Console to help us to get a 360-degree view of our online performance. So in the section that's coming up, we're going to take a deeper look into Google Analytics 4, which is the most recent version of Google Analytics. Again, there's a complete movement from Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4 coming up as of, I think it's July the 23rd, 2023, whereby everyone will then have to have moved over to GA4 to benefit from the data that's available. Okay. So before we have a look at section 3, what do you do with the information that you've now gained via the tools that you've all been discussing in chat? I can see you keeping Emma really busy in the chat there. That's absolutely fantastic. Any recommendations for advice on Facebook Insights? We find them tricky to navigate. Yeah, there's a lot on Facebook. That's a good thing. I think to treat them systematically and to align the information that you're looking at in the dashboards, there are quite a few, to help them align with the goals that you have, because you might not necessarily need to use all of the data that is apparent on any dashboard. You may well be working towards certain things, so therefore start to work back and think about what dashboard information is going to help you achieve the goal, and then you don't have to necessarily look at all of the other areas if they're not going to be relevant to that. I would also, one of the tools that I use quite a lot to learn quickly and just to see how other people are doing things, I mean, you always have to take things with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but is to use tools like YouTube to see people demonstrate how they use perhaps insights on any particular tool, how they're interpreting them, the main insights that are helping them benefit their organization or their charity, whatever it is that they're doing. Be specific in your searches. YouTube is the world's second largest search engine, and there is so much information, and people do post information very quickly after changes to algorithms, to any changes that come up on any of the platforms. So you can really help to see how people adapt as things change over time. Okay, let's have a look now. And let's move into Google Analytics 4. As it says there, great description, a more intelligent Google Analytics with machine learning at its core to find insights, trends, and predictions. So really useful. It was actually launched in 2020. If you started to use Google Analytics since then this will probably be your default experience, GA4. If you've been using Analytics prior to 2020, then you might need to update to Google Analytics 4 anyway. It can be created alongside Universal Analytics at the moment, but historical data will not be moved to Google Analytics 4. So again, now is the time, I think, to start to be thinking about doing it and making that transition over. So how do we get started with Google Analytics 4? I think this is a key question for a number of people right now. Then you need to follow some steps on Google Analytics and on your website to get started. You would set up an account if you don't already have one, if you're not on Universal Analytics. So you go to analytics.google.com to create your account. You enter your basic details like the website name, the time zone, and the currency. Then you need to start up a web stream, a data stream. That essentially is going to be your app or your website. Now, the steps that you can see on screen are for a website, the stream URL, http:// googlemerchandisestore.com. That would be replaced by your website. And you then click the Create Stream button. And you will then see a GID and tagging instructions. Now, the measurement ID there is the thing which you're going to need to input into your web pages. So that's step 3. Add the tag to your site. If you're aware and familiar with Universal Analytics, you'll be aware of the importance of making sure that your website is tagged and tracked. It's the same here with Google Analytics 4. Add the tag to your site code or use the Google Tag Manager. Again, Google Tag Manager helps you to store a lot of tags, tracking tags from maybe other tools like social media. Analytics 2 helps to keep them all in one place. Look up Google Tag Manager if you think that might be useful to you. Now, you might want to switch to Google Analytics 4 as well. So you log into your account. You would then look at the Google Analytics 4 Property Setup Assistant. So it's going to help you to make that transition as well. So you navigate to the admin page, you choose the property you'd like to set up on GA4, you click on the GA4 Setup Assistant, and follow the steps, get started. And it will help to give you a very useful transition, and hopefully as easy as is possible, transition over to Google Analytics 4, full functionality, everything working fine. So again, there will be a lot of information. Use the help pages, use all of the information available to you. And again, if you want to see people do it for your own reference, but of course, obviously we have to say to you, your own issues on your own website are going to be specific. So always make sure that you're doing what you need to do for your website. But if you want to see how other people are actually doing this and making this adaptation, use sites like YouTube just to get an overview and a feel. Might help you feel a little bit more comfortable as you go. Now, okay, we've looked at all of the tools, lots of great tools available there, and we are now going to have a quick look as we work through at some of the reports. Now, you'll be glad to know that with Google Analytics 4, the reports are very, very similar. The report snapshot, etc., are very, very similar as they have been in Universal Analytics. The developments that have been made for this tool, I'm not here to make it more difficult, that's absolutely for sure. It's here to make it as accessible as is possible for the broad breadth of users, obviously, that can benefit from its data. Now, the report snapshot is the first page. When you open Google Analytics, it gives an overview of key data from different reports and highlights some of those insights. So we can have snapshots from multiple reports displayed as things called cards. These can be used to jump into reports and further explore analytics, and you can set up your dashboard to have the reports that are most applicable to you and your goals. Now, you might see the numbers of visits is different to the numbers of visitors because a person, for example, can come back for multiple visits. There's so much data there. One of the useful things to understand, I think, and good to explain right at this point, is you will see, and you can see it on the illustration on screen, next to average engagement time and total revenue, there's a little circle with a question mark in, and you'll see those scattered throughout Google Analytics. If you hover your mouse over those, it's going to tell you exactly what that means. So you don't have to understand initially everything that you see on screen, and also not to be too overawed by what you're seeing on screen. If you're unsure, there are going to be definitions to help you understand every term that you see. Now, some of the features, and there are so many, you can discover who your users are by geographic location. You can discover how you acquire them, where they come from, again, what channels are driving them through. You can understand how many visits you're getting, and key, again, to your digital marketing strategies, when it is people are online, when people are visiting you. Now, the four main areas of reporting that you're going to find are acquisition, engagement, monetization, and retention. Really, really important. Again, very, very similar. We had acquisition before on Universal Analytics, but remembering our model that we were talking about earlier on, our reach, engage, activate, and nurture. You can then marry these up to the reports that you see on Google Analytics 4 now, which is really, really useful. So acquisition is reach. Where are my users coming from? So this is a great screen if you want to understand and see how things have changed and how you can marry up the examples. This is the one to take notes of, or take a screenshot of, take a photo of, whatever you want to do. So acquisition is reach. Where are my users coming from? Engagement is engage. How are users behaving on my site? In Universal Analytics, that would have been called, or is called still, behavior. And then monetization is activate. How are users spending money? So monetization is our activate in our REAN framework. Then we've got retention, which is nurture. Are my users returning? So there's the terms. I hope that makes it really, really easy for you in terms of understanding which of those dashboard areas to click to get the reports that you're after. So REAN, reach, engage, activate, nurture, becomes for GA4, acquisition, engagement, monetization, and retention. Fantastic. So we're going to ask the right questions, and we're going to use our framework again. So we had the question at the beginning. Now let's refer this over to what we're actually looking at on screen. How are people finding me online? So we're going to be going into the R, which is where are my users coming from? So on screen, you can see the total number of users and sessions. Again, users and sessions figures will differ potentially because people might come back to the website more than once. So that would again sort of explain the discrepancy as to why those figures are actually going to be different. The users and sessions broken down by channel. So you can see organic search. So you're being found by organic search on the left. That's the most popular avenue. Direct is where people are entering your website address directly, typing it into the URL bar, or perhaps you're bookmarked. That would be direct. You've got display. So you've taken out some display ads and people are finding you through your display advertising. You're also using paid search. You're using referrals from other websites, organic video, and organic social. So you can start to see the drop off. When you've got new users there, you can see that organic search has 27,932, whereas organic social does not seem to be working brilliantly because that figure drops down to 438 visitors that have accessed you from that channel. So you can really start to see which channels are working most effectively for you. So in terms of the information that we've now gained from looking at that page, from looking at that dashboard, we can start to do some analysis of the information. So we can see that organic traffic was doing really well. Therefore, we can identify which search terms are driving that organic traffic. Keeping up your keyword list, I think, is important. Then we're going to be looking to improve links from our social media platforms because we saw that social media was a little drop off at the bottom. So something's not working brilliantly in relation to social media. What's going to happen there? What can we do to improve that? And then we might want to develop relationships with different referral websites because we can see here that referral has real potential. It might be performing or it might be underperforming. But if we've got links on other websites driving those individuals through, what can we do to improve that relationship? Now, secondly, then, let's have a look at the engagement. So what are people engaging with when they find me online? So how are the users, again, that's behavior. How are users behaving on my website? Now, we can look at the average engagement time, how long people are actually spending on a page or on our entire site. Is it long enough for them to do the things that are actually on that page, for example? It could be the recent site events. You would set that up yourself, but you can include how long people are taking perhaps to view a product. Again, is the timing right? Are you explaining things? Do people need more or less information? You can see the most viewed pages on your website, thus helping you define what's working really well on your website and what isn't, and the click-through rates and more. So there's a great deal of information there. Again, if there's anything that you don't really, that you're unsure of, you can start to click on those question marks or hover your mouse over those question marks to understand what that means and what potentially that could mean for you and your business. So it's really the interpretation of the data. What can we do with the information that we've just seen on that page? So we can learn which pages are not getting any views. Why is that? Is it because they might not be as relevant as they could be or should be for the visitors that are coming through? Is it something wrong with the actual page and the linking structure of your website? Maybe Search Console can help you with that. Discover what is really engaging to our visitors. We can maximize on that. We might want to do more of that. We can discover that we lose a lot of people at the payment page. Now, that's a really common thing. This page might need to be simplified. Again, think about the checkout experience that you have with websites. Think about how perhaps being asked too many questions or questions you think are irrelevant might well put you off engaging with that website. A lot of people do drop off. Maybe it's a difficulty with the page. Maybe the links aren't working. You can interrogate your pages on a one-by-one basis, but your checkout page needs to be optimum. So always make sure that everything's working in there and then all the information that you are asking for makes absolute sense to your customers or to your donors or to however people are interacting or giving you what you need from that site. Now, activate is how a user's actually spending the money on the website. So how is that working? We can see the total revenue that's come through, the most purchased items and categories. Maybe we want to, if we possibly can, phase out certain things or introduce more of certain things, because those are the things that are capturing our audience's imagination. We can look at the ad revenue, so we can make sure we're understanding that return on investment. You can see on the screen, again, this is for a business, for an e-commerce site, but their most popular product is the t-shirt, the hoodie, the tie-dye tee. So you can start to understand what people are searching for, what's capturing their imagination fairly quickly. And then we can, from that, again, extrapolate information, which products are purchased most often, see the products that are most often viewed, added to basket and purchased. Very, very useful data in terms, again, of thinking about your future strategy, what you may or may not be offering in order to retain your audience and what they might be sharing as well. So it all does link in very, very closely indeed. So we're going to be asking on the final stage, we're back on the REAN, are visitors returning to your website? Again, there is information available for you there on the nurture side. Are visitors returning to your website? We've got new user breakdowns against returning users, so we can start to understand that breakdown. Are we getting enough of the people back that we want to come back? Are we keeping people happy on a consistent basis? Are they going elsewhere? The percentage of new users who return every day, and perhaps the average engagement time for returning visitors as well. So what can we do with that information? You know, how often are visitors coming back? Is it enough? Is it expected? Is it within the realms of what we would expect? In what date range or time frame are they returning? Are they taking a week, a month? How does that fit in with your cycles and what you would, again, would expect people to be conforming to? And what can you do to improve return visits? What can you offer? What information, what updates can you be posting, perhaps via other social sites, for example, to ensure that you're getting people back again and again, because it's absolutely key. Okay, so that was a great deal of information. I hope it's been really, really useful. We have now paused for questions. I can see that Emma's done an astounding job again in the chat. The common question is, what's going to be happening to your old analytics data? Your old analytics data will not be carried over to your Google Analytics 4 account. However, you can have both running at the same time until the end of June 2023. So that's June 2023. So essentially, you've got a little while to do it yet, to think about how you want to adapt, about how you want to transfer your data over, to set up that new property on Google Analytics 4 and make sure that you're ready to go and that you are starting to track historical data as quickly as you can. I mean, make the change, I guess, as quickly as you can, as soon as is practicable for you, to ensure that you're keeping that data flow going. Now, I hope that has been a useful session. As I say, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here today with you and for our partnership with Media Trust. I would like to say thank you very much indeed to you, to all of your input on the chat. It looks like you've been keeping really, really busy, keeping Emma really, really busy. Lots and lots of lots and lots of stuff going on in the chat there, which again I hope has really contributed to your understanding and also perhaps demystified some of the elements of Google Analytics 4 as well, to make sure that you feel it's accessible as it possibly can be. Now, I did mention at the beginning of the session that we have a mentoring service available, and maybe this discussion, maybe this whole session has made you think, yeah, I'd like to do more on this, but I'd like to also learn more about it as well. So why not use our mentoring service? That's enterprisenation.com/Google mentoring /sign up with a hyphen between the sign up. Again, Emma will put that link into the chat for you, but that's enterprisenation.com/Google mentoring /sign up with a hyphen between sign and up. make use of that. It's a great hour to have. You will get a digital expert. He will help you through. He will help answer specific questions, get you past any potential roadblocks that you might be experiencing. So we hope to see you again. There will be more sessions coming up in partnership with the Media Trust. So go to the Media Trust website in order to understand what they are and when they are. It will be fantastic to see you again. Use the Google Digital Garage website on g.co/digital garage. And of course, please give us some feedback today. We'd love to know your feedback. We would love to see what's been working for you and what you think we could improve on. We always want to obviously improve and up our game to ensure you're benefiting the most from these types of sessions. So that's all from me. That's all from Emma. Thank you, Emma, so much for all of your really hard work today in the chat. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I hope that you now feel much more confident to work with Google Analytics. And we'll see you all soon. So thank you very much indeed, and bye from me.